keto diet.
Cool.
You don't like it.
No, I'm on it right now.
The keto diet?
Yeah, there's a plant keto diet.
I thought you didn't like it. Did I misread something?
You didn't misread.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
just to define, if you lower, it's actually, to be technical, your net carbs, but just say lower your carbs. We're not eating lots of bananas and breads and white rice and shredded wheat cereal. And you amp up something, so you're going to usually amp up your fats. That's the true keto diet. So you've got either meats or butter or cheeses.
What do you got?
Which can be done with olive oil and nuts and seeds and avocados and tempeh. Some people make the mistake of bumping their protein way too high. But if you up your fats and lower your carbs, you will burn through your stores of carbohydrate in your body, which are in your liver and your muscle, in about 2 days. And you make an alternative fuel called ketone bodies. You can do this in really extreme illness like diabetic ketoacidosis and starvation, but you can do it while you're eating. And it turns out our brain and our organs can adapt to ketones, and you will see some benefit, predictably, of losing weight. Some people feel they've cleared up kind of brain fog. There is more religion about this than any other diet right now. Big bodybuilders and others about losing weight and energizing themselves. There's very little hardcore science. It all developed out of actually kids with epilepsy respond to this. They do well on this diet, although there's side effects in the literature. That goes back decades and decades. But nobody knows for sure. Was it Hugh Jackman or LeBron James or Halle Berry? But somebody in the media caught the buzz, and it gives people the food they love to eat. Here's your meat, here's your butter, here's your cheese, here's your bacon.
Isn't that the Atkins diet? How is that different than the Atkins diet?
It is not different than the Atkins diet.
It's not?
It isn't. It's just called a cooler name with cooler people. There was nothing typically
but
cool about
aren't you on
Robert
keto
Atkins.
diets to get into ketosis?
To get into ketosis.
And what is ketosis for layman terms?
If you successfully do this and you take a test strip you could buy at the drugstore of your urine, or I've got a little tool I breathe in that's kind of new and cool, you can determine that you've got an abnormally high level of these compounds in your blood, and you're fueling your body on it. And you might see, number one, some people get sick before they get better. They actually feel it's called keto flu. There's something called keto crotch, to be a little racy there. Sometimes
I've never had that.
Sometimes it's believed you will detoxify some built up chemicals and plastics, and you may get a little headachy and sick for a few days. That's very common. But if you keep going, that usually clears. And there are people that are just absolutely religious about how they feel. I will say the reason I've been viciously outspoken about it being a bad long-term option using animal foods is there's 10 serious research studies that say if you look 10, 20 years down the road, death rates go up doing the ketogenic animal food diet long-term. And all my friends in the keto sector of the world health experts don't mention this data. And it's, here's a study of 240,000 people. Well, we shouldn't really ignore that. So I don't mind people talking about even the animal keto diet. I did it for 2 weeks. I dropped some weight. It felt great. I went back to whole foods of plants and other foods, and I went back. It's called cyclical keto.
So you're not on it right now, or you are on it?
Well, I am on. So you can do this with 100% plants, get tons of fiber, get brightly colored fruits and veggies. They're going to be blackberries and raspberries and arugula and walnuts and parts. There's zero science for it. It's kind of cool to be in this sector and bring the health up from it, but we need some science. So I'll do it for a week.
What do you say to people? I have a lawyer in my office who was telling me he's on the keto diet and on the meat diet. Right. So it's like Atkins in the 90s, as much meat and cheese and butter and protein, but all the meat. And he says, but my numbers are great. Yeah. My cardiologist tells me my numbers have never been better. I'm losing weight. Yeah. So are you saying that this is okay short-term but not okay long-term? Is that the takeaway?
Well, number one, it's good that he's actually checking numbers. A lot of health authorities or athletes or stars that people are picking this up from. Kim Kardashian has done keto at times and dropped some weight. Now she does largely plant-based according to her Instagram. Good for her. It's a better long-term choice. But a lot of people, they never check a lab. About 30% of people on the animal keto diet, their cholesterol goes 180 to 580 in about 6 weeks. I'm talking like the highest cholesterols I've ever seen in my life. I've seen 700 on the keto diet. You do not want to stay there. Even keto animal authorities, Chris Kresser says,
doesn't matter how big
my opponent on Rogan, he actually says, I only do this for about 10 days because I get really nervous what my cholesterol profile looks like in 2 weeks. Nobody's checking that. The word should be, at least find out if you're that 30% of people that hyper respond in a bad way, because you may be doing yourself some harm. Number two, a heart patient shouldn't do the animal keto diet. It's inflammatory and it raises their cholesterol in a substantial number. So that gets to the question, hopefully we'll come to how the hell do you know if you have heart disease or not, which is the fundamental thing I do in my office. But so, it's hard to argue. I'm never going to win an argument with the lawyer in your office. I feel good. My labs are good. I kind of like the food. I still would argue that person, you need a quick checkup if you have heart disease or not. You might rethink it. It's terrible for the environment, and that's where we get to Beyond Meat burgers and Impossible burgers.
Which I love.
Talk about that. but they are so much better. The animal industry and the environment, and I'm no tree-hugging crazy man. I mean, I should be wearing plant-based shoes. I'm wearing leather shoes today.
I have. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I have some of the others too. I think animal rights is a cool thing. Nobody needs to be embarrassed about being kind in the world. But, the ability to feed Americans and the world the way we eat, the way it's exploding in India and China is crazy. And we have to come up with a solution. And so the keto diet is a solution for 20 years. It's a no-go.